It's 9:15. I have 5 more questions, and each one takes 15 minutes, which takes us to 10:30. So, Betty, ask your question. I'm going to try and see what the ones behind here are, and if I can narrow them down. And I'm not going to ask people to pass, but I'm going to try and get you to, maybe I'll just say every third person gets a, that's not fair. But go ahead with the question, and we'll try and see if we can speed it up.
I will do my best to try this. I hadn't planned on bringing all my information on this. My name is Betty Ann Papp, and thank you, I think it was Mike that brought up Neptune and my name. Thank you, Mike. Okay. I don't know how many people here are aware of what's happening on Neptune. We've done a lot of talking, or you've done a lot of talking tonight about transparency and infrastructure and a whole lot of other things. My concern is asking you, how would you feel if a major arterial road was put down your back door, when actually council should be looking at long-term planning as an exit for West Sechelt? There are other options than coming down Neptune, which we've all been told our property prices will drop $40,000 per home. There is a 12-meter incline coming down the hill. I don't know how many people in the town know about this. Also, there is a natural gas substation right at the end of Neptune. Bang! Would you like your house to be in that location? I ask you, how do you look at long-term planning where a road could be constructed using Reed Road and Reef Road? This is possible. Yes, it will cost the community to do it. You could use DCCs. However, also, West Sechelt came along long after these neighborhoods were settled. I would like to know how you would deal with this problem.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Thanks, Betty. And the other questions I have are all going to be short as well. We've got some yes, no, and single phrase questions. This question, I'm going to narrow it down to preserving neighborhoods and long-term planning. No. Thank you very much. No, really. Okay. This is one of the real dilemmas that council faces. I don't want to underestimate Betty's concern, but preserving neighborhoods, every single one of the 7 neighborhood associations has been concerned about this. So it's phrased in general ways, but this one is about a highway, it could be about a condominium development, it could be about sewage, it could be anything. But when you do that long-term planning versus preservation of the neighborhood, and she put it in your phrase, if it was your neighborhood, your backyard, how would you respond? Any differently or not? So can you sum that up in maybe 10 or 15 seconds as we just run down the neighborhood, and it's the balance between neighborhood and larger community interests?
Well, that's a simple question to answer, Bruce. Betty Ann worked very hard in her neighborhood. Her neighborhood came to us, and I listened.
Okay? Meaning you said no to the Neptune.
I said no to the Neptune connection.
Yes, we did revise the original application from the developer, as you know, Betty Ann, and it still might not proceed anyway, but in terms of long-term planning as opposed to neighborhoods, I'm in favor of neighborhoods having a major part of that decision-making process.
Thanks for being succinct.
Long-term planning is important. Yeah. And if there had been long-term planning, this issue wouldn't have arisen. People would have known there was a road plan there before they bought their home. So we need to think far ahead. I'm in favor of neighborhoods. I wouldn't want a highway in front of my house either.
Thank you, Fred. Ed?
The Neptune connector, as far as we understand it now, is on the shelf. So consequently, it's not very active file. But yeah, long-term planning. But sometimes, Betty, that long-term planning isn't done before we inherit the problems now. And that's the right time. So we're working on that.
Thank you, Ed. Mike?
The Neptune connector has been in the official community plan that nobody wants to change. for many, many years. No, it's been in the official community plan for many, many years. And don't tell me it hasn't been, because I was there when the OCP was put together for the village, so I know. But having said that, the options that we're looking at will disturb those neighborhoods equally, if not more. So it is on the shelf at this point in time, and I'm sure we'll come back with options, but those options will impact one neighborhood or the other. And I think that will happen. We can do our best to alleviate that impact, but the Neptune connector or the bypass has to go through Sechelt somewhere, and it'll impact one neighborhood or the other.
Thank you, Mike. Thank you, Betty, for the question, because it shows exactly the struggle that councillors have to have. Alice?
I would hope that council can find answers to some of these long-term issues without disrupting neighborhoods, having the least impact. I'm a person who really believes in standing up for your rights and pushing, as Betty Ann can do so well. I've stood with her in front of the hospital for every Tuesday for months a few years back, and she's a fighter, and that's the squeaky wheel.
Thank you, Alice. Ann?
Yeah, if it's the way Betty Ann describes it, there isn't anyone who would want that in front of their house, I know. But if the bypass highway does go ahead, it is designed to go right in and around there, and it is going to be on somebody else's road around in that neighborhood.